Well, it's that time of year again, and what a year 2012 has been for the British National Party. And I want briefly to take you through a few other highlights. First of all, the money position is so much better, which, especially considering these hard times, really is something. In the middle of the year, we submitted the previous year's accounts early for the first time ever. A clean set of accounts signed off by the independent auditors as a full and fair record. That's no mean feat, because we're audited to blue chip company standards, but a lot of our organisation, as you know, is run by amateur volunteers, so it really is quite something. And what those clean accounts show is also something quite phenomenal. We turned around the record £800,000 deficit in 2010 into a healthy £250,000 operating profit in 2011. And this year's accounts will show a healthy surplus and a further massive reduction in our debts and liabilities. Because the money position continued to improve throughout the year, and now we're in the black. I think we're the only party in the country that is. It's as good as that. Several years ago, the centre had to borrow from the regions and the branches just to survive, tens of thousands of pounds. Every last penny has now been paid back, and that's money in the bank for future election campaigns. It's money that's owned by and it's for the local branches and the regions. Elections haven't been easy this year. There's a general public disillusionment with politics, and the more someone's disillusioned, the more they should think about voting for us, but the less likely they are to vote. On top of that, there's the Labour bloc postal vote, which now wins elections on low turnouts. And we've also got the relentless BBC promotion of the internationalist safety valve UKIP. It makes things difficult for us, but we're still making electoral progress again. First of all, there was the Greater London Assembly campaign in the middle of the year, where we fought a full slate and ran our best and best funded campaign ever. Remember that at the start of this year, our various opponents were writing us off, saying we wouldn't even be able to stand. Well, we proved them wrong, and that was a victory in London alone. Our vote did go down, but it held up very well compared to our so-called rivals. The extremist National Front and the pro-Muslim English Democrats both saw their votes in London collapse completely. UKIP, despite all the plugs they get from the BBC, had 2 seats in London 8 years ago, and now they have none. I'm afraid it's a matter of demographics. There's very few of our people left in London now, and those who are left have given up and they aren't voting. So London's difficult. Let's resolve to make sure the same doesn't happen elsewhere. Let's improve our fight back. Recent by-elections have shown that we are. In Rotherham, we had the best placing ever for the British National Party, or in fact any other nationalist party in British history in a parliamentary by-election. We came third, with more votes than the Conservatives and the Lib Dems, the parties of government, combined. Our supposed rivals didn't even stand or were obliterated. We wiped out the Muslim candidate standing pro-multiracial English Democrats in Corby and in Rotherham, and we beat the Greens in both places too. In fact, we've had a good year for dealing with our opponents. The best scalp, the biggest scalp we took was Dennis McShane's, the viciously anti-British Labour MP in Rotherham, who attributed his fall from grace with the fact that it was British National Party complaints over his sleaze and his fiddlings expenses that destroyed his political career. In Rotherham too, Marlene Guest, our heroine there, her efforts have now led to a big investigation into alleged corruption by a businessman, a big businessman locally, with Labour council cronies. So I think there'll be more scalps coming off there. Meanwhile, the Zionist-linked British Freedom Party has been deregistered by the Electoral Commission for failing to comply with the rules and the non-submission of its accounts. Its allied English Defence League has effectively collapsed, and we're working to involve the many good and sincere patriots who were with them, who've now woken up to their agenda. Just a few months ago, according to the media hype, the EDL and the BFP were set to replace the British National Party. Well, they've gone, and we're still here. And our devastating expose of them played a major role in this, because there's been a hardline Zionist and neocon push to hijack nationalism in a push for war in the Middle East. And we've reduced that plan, a very well-funded plan, a very sinister plan, to absolute ruins. As a result, the British National Party is once again the only nationalist game in town. And we'll be going on the offensive with our game in town in the new year. In particular, we've got a big campaign lined up to expose the paedophile and financial corruption, and they're intertwined, of the establishment parties. For years, we felt like punch bags. They throw everything at us, smear after smear after smear, and we just had to stand and take it. Well, not anymore. Now they're going to be getting a taste of their own medicine, with the sole difference that we're not going to be smearing, we're going to be telling the truth. And I can tell you, it's not going to be comfortable for them. Meanwhile, we're on the right side of the law. There have been several really important legal landmark victories this year. The best victory was Arthur Redfern. Arthur Redfern, you may remember, was the British National Party bus driver, sacked from his job just for being a party member and for being elected as a British National Party councillor in Bradford. He was refused leave to take his case to the House of Lords when he lost on appeal, so instead he took it on to the European Court of Human Rights, where he won. In doing so, Arthur secured not just your right to be a member of the British National Party, but also to have a decent job. He secured everybody's rights in whatever party they're involved with. And this is really important. If you're a Democrat, a real Democrat as we are, then you have to accept that even people whose views you don't like, particularly people's views who you don't like, have an absolute right to hold those views, to impart those views, to get elected for those views, and still to have their job. And no one else has stood up for that right, but we have. And that victory by Arthur Redfern was really important this year. Well done to Arthur, the hero of the year in many ways. On top of that, the Independent Nationalist Trade Union Solidarity have also won a number of important employment-related cases this year. And the Solidarity Free Representation Unit launched a successful legal challenge on behalf of real Scottish patriots against the anti-democratic Socialist bloc on Edinburgh Council, which wouldn't let them have public activities. In doing that, collectively the nationalist movement has shown that we can take positive action to secure our rights and our freedoms. And nationalism now really has clout in the legal system, and it's steadily increasing. We've had a good year also for activities and demonstrations, with great publicity material, great leaflets, placards for demos, freedom, and some really good demonstrations. Demonstrations in Blackpool, demonstrations in Sunderland and in Leicester, where we've been joined by literally hundreds of members of the public. We've seen a steady improvement also on the internet, more than ever from bnptv, and more viewers than ever. More than ever on web radio, such as with The World at 8. We've got regular news plus groundbreaking in-depth reports, our expose of what's behind the EDL, our revelations about how Labour councils like Salford are still pushing newly arrived immigrants to the front of the queue, whatever Mr Miliband says. We've exposed how Labour has stolen BNP housing policies. No other party has the ability, the reach or the courage to do this. As a result, we're increasingly respected by the public, and this is felt by activists on the streets. As I said, the big demonstration and leaflet distribution we had in Blackpool during the conference got a great response, and our conference had more than a third more delegates than last year. In Sunderland, scores of members of the public joined in our anti-halal meat demonstration. In Leicester, I was there on an anti-mosque demo, and hundreds of members of the public listened to and applauded what I had to say on your behalf. This has never happened before, and it really is promising for the future. So Christmas and New Year aren't a time for political campaigning, but while you're having a hard-earned break, our publicity team will be working away to further expand our range of leaflets and campaign material, ready for another big push forwards when the party gets back to work later in January. If you're an official, I look forward to seeing you at the Organisers' Conference in the Midlands on Saturday the 26th of January. If not, I hope to see you on the campaign trail anyway. Because, as you know, our country is in peril. Our freedom and our very identity are in mortal danger. Traditions like our Christmases are under relentless attack from an unholy alliance of red, green, atheist Marxists and Islamic fanatics. We have to lead the British resistance because no one else will. So have a great Christmas and a happy New Year, and then let's get back to work.